You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm thy friendship. Oh,
you know what time it is. You roll with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lames. And it's Buckeyes by a billion. We in the building with over 100,000. We represent from the uttermost to the public housing. If we don't play, all wide receivers got your secondary shook, so they cook them like Bobby Flay. Hey, stay out of my way and trust me, cause I know it's OH. Somebody please give this brother an IO. Come on.
What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk college football with real fans. I'm Devin, excited to be here again. Before we dive into the show, need your guys' help. As always, please hit that like button, the subscribe button as well. Both channels, don't forget, I'm one of the rare ones streaming on 2 channels. Maybe one day we'll get that figured out. But for now, please support both channels. The super chats are open as well. Both channels go to support our veterans. Buckeye Boys, half of it goes to support Teen Challenge, a faith-based organization that helps people that struggle with drug addiction as well. Also, Spreaker app, if you download that, show Scoop some love there. Apple Podcasts, same thing. Give us a like on that and go check out the Scoop message board. What is up, chat? I see you guys in there talking it up already. Tonight, again, similar show to last night. Got a familiar guest joining us tonight. Going to dive into essentially, man, wherever the conversation leads us. We'll probably dive into a little bit of where college football is at with the portal, how Ohio State got affected with it, our thoughts there. We'll also take a look at the schedule for next year and dive into that. But without further ado, let's bring the familiar face on, Daniel Sanchez. Daniel, how you doing, brother?
Good, man. How you doing, man?
Doing good. I feel for the people that are dealing with the snow right now, the snow and the cold. Most of my listeners they're either in Ohio or even Texas, man. Are you guys dealing with some snow there?
No snow down this way this year, not down in Houston. I heard Dallas got a little bit. But we were pretty cold this past week. We were well into the mid-20s. So it was it was nice. Put it that way. It was not quite that's something that Dietrich and I we always are in amazement of when we come up that way. We've been there several times when it's the winter wonderland, so to call it, right? And we just, man, things just keep running, man. It just, everything's nice and smooth. We don't even get anything. We just get a threat of something being cold, man, and we could shut down Houston. So it's something to get used to, man.
Yeah, for sure. Here in Tallahassee, the next couple of days, it's supposed to get down in the 20s at night, and I'll be that. There are people, I'm driving down the road today, people literally have all the bushes in their front yard wrapped with blankets. I mean, I know that's a thing to do, but yeah, it gets serious here. I had to go out and put insulation around I got literally 10 spigots in my front yard. I bought this house, and I don't know why the owner put that many spigots in the front yard, but I had to go wrap them all. So get ready for the cold, man. But dude, I noticed something, right? You've been on the show before, and normally behind you have a pretty sick drawing. It looks like something changed a little bit, man.
Yeah, just something.
What you got behind you?
Just throw up a little something a little different this time, man. Something little, just something new. Just throw up there, man. So, like I say, we just try to change it up, man.
Yeah, dude. Is that game worn? Jersey, gloves?
Yeah,
Maybe. Okay.
It might be.
That's pretty fire, man. That's pretty cool. Well, hey, dude, I do want to I don't want to dive into the portal yet because I do want to mention something. Finally got to meet you at the game. Strolled up into the parent section, shook your hand, Dee's hand, met some other parents too. That was awesome. The game didn't quite turn out the way that we wanted it to, but I wanted to just I know way back when, sorry, Buckeye fans, for taking you in this time machine here. but I am curious to get your thoughts, Daniel, on the overall that game, man. Right? I know it didn't work out our way. Some things didn't go our way, but we had an opportunity to win the game. The final score didn't reflect how close the game really was, but let's give your thoughts. How close were we to taking that game away?
Man, I put me
I
on the
know.
spot, man.
I did.
Like I said,
Me
man,
too.
I try not to be critical of these guys because I'm an active parent.
Yeah.
Man, put it this way. Man, I'm not a guy who's big on consolation prizes and things like that, but I think it's something to be said that the only two teams that we had problems with we're playing for the whole thing. I think that if that's an indication of where the team was, I think we're in a good place. Man, that was a tough game. Only thing I'm gonna say is hats off to those guys. They put in the work, they earned it. They gave it to us that day. They were a better team, man. Like I say,
Yeah.
I think with them, with those two teams being the representatives, I think again it was the one positive thing about what I can say.
Yeah. Well, especially if you go back to the game before that game and you look at the Indiana game, the score of that game, the way that game played out. And as an Ohio State fan, me personally, right, I'm not asking you to comment on that, but I will say I feel like we gave that one away. I feel like that was our game. And then you watch what Indiana did to everybody in the playoffs and how they go on and win the national title. I think that really shows you the type of team the Buckeyes had right this year. And
Yeah,
sometimes that's football, man. Right?
yeah,
Sometimes the ball literally does not bounce right back to you. Jack Sawyer the year before, fumble, bounce right back up in his hands. The Miami game, 2 fumbles, bounce right back up into Miami's hands. Sometimes, man, that's
yeah.
just the way it plays out. But
Yeah, you're right, man.
since,
That's what it is.
yeah, we've since moved on, okay, and we've known that the portal has caused chaos, right? A lot of the times, but last spring during that portal time, the Buckeyes had 0 players enter the portal. But when you look across the country, there are players entering the portal left and right. So it made the Buckeyes feel pretty good. And then you run into this portal time, the single portal thing now. NCAA changes, only one portal time, right? And you see all these Buckeye players leave, each one their own story, their own reason, they're all that. Just wanted to get your thoughts as a parent, right? Somebody that probably got to know some of these players. What's your thoughts on that? Kind of not just for Ohio State, but the overall right direction that this portal is taking college football.
Man, first, man, I want to wish every young man and family behind that young man who decides to jump into that thing for whatever reason, the best of luck. Because I think I don't know what the exact numbers are, but I think I'm not too far off on this, man. Most of the I want to say what a quarter to a third of these guys who jump into this thing are done. They
Yeah.
never get back in. So I mean, that's it's a risk, man. I try not to judge people's reasons for doing it. There's different reasons for everybody doing it, man. There's some guys are getting in for playing time. There's some guys getting in for change of scenery type things. They're not calling out any programs, man, but just as of recent, man, I'm learning that. And I don't know how true some of this stuff is. I haven't really went back and actually verified any of this stuff, man. I'm hearing that there's teams letting guys go after this portal window's over. They're telling them, hey, not in the budget. We'll see you later. So I mean, it's crazy. So man, it's a tough thing, man. But man, be wary. That's all I can say, man. It's a crapshoot, man. If you want to try and jump in that thing for whatever reason, let's say, man, good luck. But as far as the way I think that the Buckeyes have won, I think Portal's been solid this past season. And I really like what they brought in. Couple D linemen, I think, are outstanding guys that are going to be coming in. I like the additions that they brought in the back end. Couple guys should be day one starters as soon as they walk in the door. So I mean, man, I'm really excited, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Some of the guys that they brought in to try to help out with this thing. Man, I'm really excited, man. Man, to me, man, it's one of those things where, man, it's just 2 seasons as far as I'm concerned. It's football season and everything else. Getting ready for football season is the way that I put it. So I mean, it's man, I'm excited, man, for get ready to man, I wish this thing could be year round. These guys get right back into it, man. I'd like to see them, get right. In essence, they really are. These guys really don't get much time off at all, man. I don't know what your average person thinks going on right now. These guys they're back in it. They don't get much of a break. This is basically year round for them. This is a job for these guys. Going along with their school studies. So I mean, man, it's I can't wait, man. Like I say, man, I don't want to sound like a broken record, man, but it's I'm really excited for him, man. I can't wait to get back to it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been a lot of changes in college football. The NIL thing, the portal, right? Which initially, kind of like anything in this world, though, NIL has so many good things about it. The portal has so many good things about it, right? It's a tool that you can either use, right, for positive things or for negative things. But there is no doubt that it is changing the way college football operates, because there's an aspect to this that even me, it took a minute to kind of realize that, hey, right, teams are so focused on winning now, right? And when players enter the portal, right, my mind always thinks, why is that player leaving? Why did that player decide to leave, right? And the other side of that is I think teams are even getting more aggressive in this portal and pushing some guys out as well. And you see this affecting, right? There's a domino effect to this. Talked about this yesterday on the show as well, but inside this portal is now an opportunity for guys to, right, stay in college football a long time. It's an opportunity for, right, certain schools to go fill their needs. All their needs can be filled in the portal. But what does that do, right? It eliminates some opportunities for high school players, man, right?
Yeah.
And you're seeing these tools that were put in place. These are some of the negative effects, right? Some of the negative effects of kids entering the portal, right? There were over 10,000 football players, collegiate football players, that entered the portal this year. And you are right. There's about 3,000 of them or so. At least that's what I saw in the research. Who knows if the research was true or not, but that their college football career is over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just over. And you got to think the mentality of that player when they enter the portal is they're excited, go find a new home, maybe get some more playing time, whatever it is. And then boom, it's just done. You got to wonder,
Man.
right, in that scenario, where that advice is coming from.
Man,
right?
that's what you just brought up, man. That's some of the horror stories and some of this stuff, man. When you hear about, not naming anybody, but you hear about kids that jumped in the portal because, uncle down the street told them to jump in because you can get, X amount more over here, and then it doesn't work out, man. So it's sad, man, but that's some of what's going on out there. Guys are losing that bird in the hand, trying to chase that one in the bush, man. So, it's, man, it's something to be said, man. Like I always say, it's a weird way of going around with this stuff, man. I always say, things always kind of come back. You know what I mean? Things always kind of go full circle, right? And so I think in a weird way, man, this is kind of, guys were talking about lower level football, JUCOs, things like that, man. I think in a weird way, this is kind of we're some people were complaining about how it's killing JUCOs, man. I think it's going to start pushing guys back into that, right? You're going to start seeing more high school guys going back into the JUCO systems. You're going to start seeing more guys, going into the D2, D2 level, man, and they're trying to work their way up. In some cases, when you're lucky enough to make that roster, and you're not falling prey to these teams wanting to be older right now, going for grown men right now. And you're fortunate enough to be that 17, 18-year-old kid who's lucky enough to get in, and they've identified you as somebody that they want to keep around and they want to develop. I think it's going. You might see more guys go back into the red shirt, that kind of stuff. So, you're going to start to see, again, where you got so many freshmen playing early. I think you kind of get back away to that, and you start seeing more older guys like it used to be. Where it used to be a novelty to see a freshman, sophomore on the field. That guy had to be, bona fide. At that age, it seems like all these kids are out on the field this, early now. You might get back to some of that stuff, man, in a weird way. Like I say, I think this stuff always works itself out.
Yeah. And that's something that, I wanted to bring up and ask you about even further is, right, these decisions that these kids have to make, right? There's what always sometimes it blows my mind. And sometimes when I think about it, it blows my mind because, right, not all these parents that have players are completely in tune with what is going on around the country. You know what I mean? Me as a fan, I'm like, I'm a football fan. So I feel like if I had a kid that entered the portal, I'm very in tune of everything that's going on. I'm aware of, right, all the bad things, all the good things that incorporated in this. And I think, right, a big part of this portal that, at least with what I have heard from the negative side, has to deal with agents, because you have these parents that it's just like, hey, man, I don't really know how to navigate this all too well, right? I need somebody I can trust. I need somebody that can show me the way, that has knowledge on how to operate in this area. And it's like, hey, man, Google agents. And I mean, quite frankly, like you said, uncle down the street can create an agency, and you sign up for it. And the parents just sit there all along. And it's just like, well, they're the agent, right? I'm going to listen to them. I'm going to trust them. But in your experience, right, you've been through it. Just speak on that a little bit for the parents that are new to this and going through this. Is that one of the most important decisions you can make if you choose to go the agent route, to make sure that you're doing your research, or you're reaching out to a buddy or somebody that has been through it and making sure they're making the right decision? Like, where are these guys supposed to go, right, when they're in a situation and they're looking for somebody to give them, right, the best advice possible? Because there are so many avenues. I mean, you don't know, what the agent's mentality is, what he wants to get out of it, all those things. Speak to that a little bit in your experience of, right, college football.
It's again, man, I try not. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to scare people. I mean, it's the best way I can put it, right? But man, it's a crazy world right now. Having an athlete in particularly college football. Easiest way I can put it, man. There's again, I've said this multiple times before. I've said this before with Duke. Man, you don't need it, right? You can do this thing on your own, right? And as long as you have a solid foundation of what it is that you're looking for, as far as for your son, your daughter, whatever it may be, and as long as those things from that university line up with what it is that you're looking for, for your family, right? You can do that on your own, right? I think there's a lot of people, right, there's so many people, right, that got caught up with this stuff, right? And just like with anything else, right? Like a lot of people say, the NFL is a copycat league, right? Man, I think there's a lot of people who are out there just doing what they think they hear people say is right, right?
Yeah.
You know, I've had conversations with people where you know, where they ask me, well, you know, well, when do I start looking for an agent? Right? I'm just like, okay, well, man, does your kid even start? Where you know where he goes to high school? And
Yeah.
if the answer is no, you know, then why are you thinking about that kind of stuff? Or does your kid even have an offer sheet that you know deems it worthy or something like that? You know, are agents approaching you, because that's typically how that works, right?
Yep.
And you know, without sounding any kind of way about it, man, if that statement is not something that you could say yes to, then you're probably barking up the wrong tree anyway, right? When you're looking for
Yep.
that kind of stuff. But you know, again, man, it just kind of it you know, like I just said, man, it all goes back to, you know, just making sure that, you know, you got people that have your own best interests at heart when it comes to looking into that kind of stuff. Man, and just really having somebody in your corner, man, that you know you can trust and they're rock solid, man. You know, it's man, it's a lot of people out there, man, that are selling these kids dreams. And you know, the unfortunate part about it is some of them, man, live in the homes with these kids in their blood. You know, and that's the terrible part about it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Those are the. I hear some of the stories. I'm like, dang, man. I hope that's not true. I hope that's far fetched and details got added to that along the way, man. But obviously, you're in the thick of it. You know what I mean? Your son Devin plays for the Buckeyes, and from the perspective you are in, right, you seem to have a pretty solid foundation along the way. We saw the recruitment. We saw him play this year. We all that. You as a parent, when it comes to the portal and the situation you guys were in, did you experience any like what were your emotions when it's time for the portal? Or are you guys locked in the process, well aware, so that way when the day the portal opens, you guys are already prepared, already aware of his situation, what is going on, the details, all those things? Or is it boom, the day the portal opens, there's just chaos for everybody? Or does it have to be chaos for everybody? Does that make sense? I'm not
Yeah, no,
asking details on anything. Just
every situation is different, right? You got some
yeah,
young men that know they're going to hit the portal after game 2
yeah,
in the season. You know, some guys will learn that, you know, a little bit further along during the season. Man, there's some guys that know they're hitting the portal in January, man, before they even really get in that thing good, man, because they already know it's not going to work. You know, and I'm not just, you know, talking OSU specific, right? I'm just, you know, this is
yeah,
just across the board, right? Um, for us personally, man, man, I'm gonna just be honest, man. I mean, man, we didn't even think about anything like that, man. We're Buckeyes through and through.
yeah,
You know, we don't know what a portal is. I mean, you know, whatever.
yeah,
I mean, that's something that I don't even want to say it that way. That's something that guys jump in, man. They want to, you know, take a different direction. That's
yep,
the best way that I can put it.
yeah. Well, moving on, right? You've been through the year of experience now as a Buckeye parent. I'm sure there's right. You have the fan base to deal with. You have right. Your family things to. You have all these things to deal with. But long story short, you came into the season. You committed to the Buckeyes. You had this idea in your head, maybe some expectations, maybe you've been through enough life. Hey, I'm not putting any expectations on this season. Let's just let it roll out how it rolls out, right? Season's done, season's over. Overall thoughts, man, the experience, being a Buckeye parent, being able to watch your son get a couple opportunities to start, make an impact on this field, overall experience of being a part of Buckeye Nation for your first year.
Man, you know, again, man, you know, I've said this before. It's to me, right? It's everything that, you know, we've asked for as far as our family. There's no better place in the country that you could send, you know, your son to play, you know, elite level football, and then, you know, with the expectation that, you know, he's going to come back an elite, you know, young man as well. So I mean, you know, man, I can't be happier, man. You know, like I said, you know, before, man, I'm ready to get right back into it. You know, this thing, I mean, it rolled by fast, man. You know, Dietrich and I were just talking about it the other day. It was like, Devin's been in college for a year now. Doesn't feel like it, but I mean, he has.
Yeah.
It's been a solid year. So I mean, we're man, we love it, man. Like I say, to us, no better place to be. It's the expectations are high, man, but this is what we decided to come to this thing for. Be in the spotlight every week. Like I say, man, getting ready to play for championships, and man, like I say, man, we love it. We love it. It's great.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely, man. Dude, I can't even imagine. Even from this end as a fan, it flew by. So being in your position where you're at, I guarantee you, man, that just blink of an eye, boom, it's over. But right when you trust a college and a coach, you send your kid off, right? It's a time in their life when right they're going to form who they are as a man. You brought that up just a minute ago, right? You want your son to be a really good football player. There's an other aspect to it, right? It needs to be a man, right? The correct way, the good example, be around good people, right? When you look at, this is going to be probably a hard question, might not be able to answer it or whatnot, but just speak to right Devin's growth throughout the season, not just as a football player or anything, but what are some attributes right that you've seen Devin areas you've seen him grow in throughout his time being a part of this Buckeye program?
He'll probably get upset that I'll say this, but I think the biggest thing that I've noticed, right, is he has a different respect for other people's time now. And that's a big thing, right?
Yeah.
You know, some of these guys, they get used to hearing what people tell them all the time. They get used to people catering to them, and they're the attraction when they walk in the room. Everything kind of starts to slow down and starts to get on their time, right? That was one thing. I would kind of fight with Devin about. Just hey, man, be a little bit more punctual. Always remember to people are doing things in mind. For you, so just respect people's time, right? And I think that's one thing that I've seen a change with him. He's punctual. He knows that just showing up just a couple minutes before meeting is not really on time. And then there's the aspect of some of the behind the scenes stuff, right? Where man, I don't man, I'm always real in what it is, right? When I say this is a performance based thing, right? And so I understand why people have the outlooks that they have on these young men, and and I'm the first one to always say, man, I've always been hard on my sons, because I know the way that people view this thing, right? That what you're doing, right? And so I don't like to toot horns on certain things, right? Because I believe that you shouldn't be rewarded for doing what you're supposed to be doing, right? But
Amen.
some of the things that these young men do behind the scenes that people have no idea, right? What they're doing, how much time they actually spend in doing what they're doing, right? Man, there are a lot of, don't get me wrong. There's some young men that when, once that final whistle blows and coach releases them, they hit the locker room and they're done. They're out of there. But for the majority of these young men, man, that they get back in the meeting room. Some of these guys, they're taking care of their bodies, to make sure that they can be out there every weekend. Some of these guys are getting right back on the field and trying to, tighten up on things that they got their ass ripped about, on X the following, the prior week. So I mean, all those little small things, man, are things that these guys are doing. And again, that's some of the small things that my son has done. And it's just become a part of his routine, right? And so I got as a dad, I got a lot of respect for that. Just watching him, just grow as a man. In understanding, how much, that really goes into, being great, not just average, so I mean, I'm really, proud of that part of it as well.
Yeah, dude, that's I mean, we had a conversation before the show. We have conversations as well. We're well aware of the pressure that comes at Ohio State, the fan base, social media now, everything that goes on. So to be in that position at all as a freshman, as a sophomore, as a junior, whatever it is, to start for Ohio State puts you in a position where you're either going to grow, in my opinion, where you're either going to grow up or it's going to absolutely crush you. It's a pretty I don't know, from the outside looking in, it's a, that's just life in general, but I feel like in that position it accelerates you, but at the same time, because of that acceleration, right, it can put you above, right, or it will put you below. So to see, sometimes even myself as a fan, sometimes when you're watching the game, you get involved in it, man, sometimes, if you stop and you realize that these kids, these men, want to win more than we want them to win. You know what I'm saying? They're
Right.
out there doing this thing, bro. And that's one of the aspects of doing the interviews and at least getting a little bit more insight than the average fan. That right, it makes me appreciate and watch the game a little bit differently and respond to the game a little bit differently than I used to. To be honest, but boy, it's a crazy, wild time, man. Buckeyes are chugging along. Devin's chugging along, coming into a very big season, right? A lot of people putting him in that starting role already, including me. Still got a long off season to go. A lot of work ahead of him. He came there for the competition. He doesn't want anything handed to him. We're well aware of that. He's built like that. That's what it is. But the schedule just came out, right?
Man,
And
it's
yeah,
yeah,
the schedule came out,
it's real.
and you've got to, let me see if I can get this pulled up. Let's see. Is this it? It is.
It is real, brother.
Yeah, here we go. So obviously we got Ball State, then Texas, then Kent State, then Illinois, then Iowa, then Maryland. And here's the one that gets me a little bit. We got Indiana, then I believe there's a bye week in there. Doesn't show on this. Then
Yeah,
USC, then Oregon.
man.
That's a pretty good stretch, man.
Mid October, man, it's gonna be something, man. It's serious. Mid October is gonna be serious, man. But
It is.
I'm gonna be, man. This is a championship schedule.
Yep.
And that's just really the best way that I can put it. Man, they run this thing, man. Hell, man. I mean, they earned it. They earned it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What you got? You're looking at what? 1, 2, 3, 5 top 20s at least.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1,
Maybe
2,
6.
3, 4, 5, maybe 6, bro. You got Illinois and Iowa there that are on
Yeah.
they're on the cusp, but you got Texas, Indiana, USC, Oregon, and Michigan. They're going to be in the top 25, right? And I mean, Illinois and Iowa are right there as well. Dude, I want to get your take on this because it's been a discussion, and we'll wrap it up here and let you get on your way. But obviously, one of the other changes to college football is the 12-team playoff, right? It's going to go to 24 or 16 or whatever here soon.
16, I think is perfect. I think 16.
Yeah.
Do away with the first round buys.
Yep.
First 2 rounds on campus, I think is perfect. Then go from there. I think 16 is where it needs to be. 12 is okay. Anything more than 16, I think we're diluting it really bad now.
I'm on par. I'm perfectly fine with keeping it at 12. But yeah, you go on to that Tony Petitti, the Big Ten commissioner. He's pushing for 24 like it's nobody's business. And I'm like,
well, I think they need to go away with the 12. Is I think, again, man, these past 2, you've had 1 out of the top 8 seeds make it, in the last 2 years. That's why I think they need to do away with the 12. They just need to go to 16 and do away with the buys, man. Bump that thing up a week earlier and get to it.
What about, I wasn't going this direction. What about the break the Buckeyes had this year, man? Do you think that's, last year, no break, you play Tennessee, then Oregon, then Texas, right? But this year, because we got that first round bye, we faced a team in Miami that didn't have, I forget how many days difference it is, but what do we have, a 20-day break or something like that compared to their 14 or something. You think there's something to that? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, like I think Indiana this year is the only team that won. Last year, every one of them lost.
Yeah.
This year, I think Indiana's the only one that won that had that break. So you're looking at 1 out of 8 so far have won in that position. I could be off there, but
yeah, you know, it's like, man, it's the test is showing it, man. I mean, you know, it's you know,
yeah,
it's out there. I mean, you know, they're showing the conclusions. You know, personally, you know, I'm probably going to sound crazy, but I think they need to do away with the conference championship games too. You know, I don't think those things mean anything anymore. You know, let's cut it, man. Cut that week down, man. Let's get straight to the playoff and roll with this thing, man.
yeah, I know that'd be a tough one for the conference to agree to, but you know,
I
I like that idea
happen.
as well. But no, it's too much
Yeah,
money in that. But
that's too much money.
shoot, you never know, man. But on this schedule thing, you got some teams around the country that you see dropping all their tough games, not playing out of conference games, dropping them, man. They want to play MAC teams. They want to play the easiest schedule possible because it guarantees.
Can you blame them? Can you blame them?
No, you can't. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's part of me that's like, yes, let's jump on board with that. Like, I'm okay with that. And then the other part of it is when I look at this schedule.
I don't blame Notre Dame, man. Especially, man. They get suffocated by championships, man. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I mean, they get strangled out by trophies, man. They surrounded by I don't blame Notre Dame at all.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, man. Notre Dame, because maybe it's envy, maybe it's whatever it is. I have a dislike for Notre Dame right now because of their ability to do that right there, and we don't have that ability, right? We're stuck playing Indiana, USC, and Oregon. Texas. We put on the schedule. But that's what I want to get. Obviously, I think we kind of got your idea already, because when I look at this schedule as a fan, I'm like, oh, heck yeah, these are going to be some really good games to watch here. But then again, you also put yourself in a position because this whole idea of, hey, isn't out big time, is the Texas game worth it? The answer to that question is no. Not in terms of getting into the playoffs, because a 1-point win over a MAC team is more valuable than a 1-point loss to Texas, right? That's been proven over and over again. So speak to that a little bit, man. When you look at this thing here and you look at our schedule, where are you at with that? There's some people that are saying, hey, well, it's going to get this team ready for the playoffs. It's going to get them ready. They're going to get better. They're going to play. But then the other aspect is you're putting yourself in a spot where, hey, man,
it could get a little funny when
it can get funny.
If you're 5-2 halfway through this thing, it could be a little funny. So yeah, man, it's it's a tough thing, man. Like you say, you know, I think looking at the schedule, right? You know, that's a championship schedule, man. If you can roll that thing, you're cooking, right? But at the same time, man, I mean, man, it's you don't want to be sitting there looking at 9-3, man, hoping and begging, man. You know, please, you know, somebody bring us in. You know, just because you know who we are.
Well, so you also don't want to run your gas tank out during the regular season. I don't know if that's a thing or a concern as well, but it's just like,
well, I mean, you know, we might be on the other side of the coin with that running the gas tank out thing now too, man. Because what's the point? What's the point in saving gas when you know the trip gets cut short? You know, before you get to where you're going, right?
Amen.
So I mean, you know, that's might be looking at something different this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we'll see what the Buckeyes do. I know, dude, I don't know if the Alabama series and the Georgia series has been canceled yet, but it needs to be canceled. I think Alabama backed out already. I don't know if they're next year. I'm sure the chat knows, but we have a series the next 4 years, Alabama and Georgia. I do think Alabama backed out maybe, but we got to get rid of that. So yeah, I lean more towards, hey, no tough out of conference games. We got enough in conference games to test the waters, right? We're going to play Oregon or USC or Indiana now. Like the Big Ten is getting pretty loaded. And obviously you never know year by year at the portal, you could have a surprise team in there that's, that could kind of shock you a little bit. Either way it goes.
Let me ask you something. So would you be afraid to play Alabama or Georgia if, say, the SEC and the Big Ten went to their own thing and that was it? They're doing 30 teams and that's the league. Would you be afraid to play those guys in?
No, that to me, when you say that, I don't know, man. That would be fire. I don't know. I mean, just right off the top of the dome, without thinking too much about it, I feel like that would be pretty exciting because obviously, right, to get into the playoffs, what your schedule, your record would change then. If you're playing Big Ten, SEC schools throughout your whole schedule,
Yeah.
At 9-3, you're getting in a 16-team playoff or a 12-team playoff, maybe. You know what I mean? So, right off the dome, no, I wouldn't be. But I don't know. Have you put more thought into it? What's your thought on that?
I'm of the mindset of I don't mind playing those tough teams. It gives you an idea of where you are as a team. And if you're far off when you play those guys regular season, you would never know that if you never played them. So I mean, if you're giving yourself some kind of false hope. So I'd rather go in and have one or two of those on the schedule. I don't think it's really that big of a deal. I'd still want to do that. Yeah.
It's just unfortunate that I just feel like the criteria for getting into the playoffs, I mean, I don't know that there's any way to fix it. It's so wishy-washy, man. You know what I mean? If they actually gave more credence and more whatever to the teams that play the large, like losing to Texas by 1 point should mean more than us beating Ball State by 1 point. It should, but it doesn't, though. Not in the committee's mind. It doesn't anymore. And then you have too many teams that are going to be on that margin right there. And if a team has to choose, if we're 9-2 with one of our or 10-2 with one of our losses to Texas by a point, right? They're gonna choose the 11-1 team that didn't play Texas or didn't play anybody. They're choosing an 11-1 Notre Dame over a 10-2. And I know this is not realistic, but over a 10-2 Ohio State. You know what I'm saying? So that's if it would actually mean more, I would like it. But you're putting yourself in a position where, right, any loss to any team, you're at the mercy of the committee, and they can't. If you 12-0, you in.
Yeah.
You 11-1, you in for sure, right? 10-2 could get a little washy, but most likely not. But 9-3, oh boy, you know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, but I say, if there's any team that probably would be 9-3 that could sneak in, it'd be,
oh yeah,
great. So I mean, I say, don't want to go there. Yeah, don't want to go there.
It don't matter. And we ain't freaking going 9-3. It ain't happening, man. Daniel, we'll get you off here, but one more question, dude. Obviously, we've already said Devin's role increasing a lot this year. You've seen the Buckeyes went into the portal, picked up some secondary players to help out with losing Caleb Downs, maybe create a little competition inside that room. What can we expect from this secondary this year? What are your hopes? What are your thoughts on the secondary that these Buckeyes are about to put on the field?
Man, it's okay. So for me, right, this is my personal thing, right? I want to see these guys make more plays on the ball. I want to see these guys become more ball hawks out there. I want to see these guys be, I want to see these guys get more turnovers, right? Is what I want to see the back end, be more of a part of, man. I want to see more hands on balls. You know, I want to see guys punching out balls. You know, just all of that, man. I think that's the one thing where I looked at certain things, right, where statistically, you know, where I thought, you know, we were, you know, great, outstanding defense. You know, number one pass defense, number one scoring defense, if I'm not mistaken. You know, I
Yes.
have to go back and look at some of those things. Number 8 overall, rushing, you know, that kind of stuff. So I was just like, man, you know, the one thing that I thought glared, especially when we got to the playoffs, I started looking at some of these teams, man, they were like double turnovers, right? So I was just like, wow, you know, okay, so that's an indication of why these guys are where they are, right? And so that's that. So for me, right, that's the one thing when I talk to my son, you know, as far as, hey, man, I want to see you getting back to, you know, getting your head around, man, and making plays on balls, man. You know, I want to see you touch more balls this year, you know. So that's the one thing that that you know, as far as I'm concerned, that I want to see.
Man, I've always wondered, right, as a DB coach, like what the teaching is there, like why sometimes you see corners with their heads not turned around. Is there something there where it's like, hey, it's not worth turning your head around if you think you're beat, or you always turn your head around, or like those are the answers that I do not know. You know what I mean? I have those questions and I watch a game, I'm like, I wonder if they're taught to keep their head down to try to recover and make sure so they can look when the catch is made and break it up, or what's the teaching,
So
not that you have to answer that. I don't
no,
know the answer.
I'm happy to kind of answer that.
Yeah.
There's a couple things that you may see guys doing. More often than not, when you catch guys in the oh shit moment, right? And that's basically what it's called. It's the oh shit moment. To where they're what you would call out of phase, right? And so there's two things that, you know, these guys are trying. Well, one thing that these guys are trying to be is they're covering these guys down the field, right? As we're talking downfield routes, vertical routes more. They want to be in what they would call in phase, right? And what that means, being in phase with the guys, that means that you're almost in a position where you're almost hip to hip with that guy. You know, you may be, you know, a tad above, you know, or a tad behind, but you kind of want to be, you know, in a position where you can almost lean on that guy. And that's basically what most guys are taught, right? When the ball's in the air, they want to lean and locate. So that means you want to lean out on that guy, you know, put your body in that guy as you're turning your head around to locate the ball, right?
Okay.
And so when you typically see a guy not turn his head around, is because he knows he's not in phase, right? He's out of phase. So in that case, what you normally taught is to not, if you're not in phase, right? What you're going to do is you're going to play the ball through the man. And what that means is you're trying to get a gauge on, you know, the hands. And a lot of these guys are good. They're going to give you late hands. So what a lot of guys kind of do is they kind of look at the eyes. As the eyes get larger, you know, kind of this indication of the ball coming. So that's typically what guys are doing out there, man. It's when you're out of phase, man, you're panicking. And that's why I say, man, that's why you see a lot of guys looking the way they are out there, man. They're in when you're a DB and you're out of phase, that's the worst spot you can be in out there, man. You are totally wide open. Putting
that stuff,
you know, in a bad term.
That's so intriguing to me because I knew there were details in being a corner that I was not aware of. Like I knew you got to watch things, and I watched Mecca Buka with the late hands burn people all the time. He was really good at it. But yeah, hearing the eye thing and all that, man, that'd be interesting to sit and watch a practice and hear a DB coach, all those little details, things you go through. But hey, dude, I think me and the rest of Buckeye Nation, we're on board with getting some more turnovers. I'm excited. I think the Buckeyes absolutely killed it on the defensive side of the ball, in the portal, and with some of these young up and coming sophomores, your son, along with a big list of other ones that, for me personally, I think Buckeye Nation might be underestimating just a little bit, man. When you see how the Buckeyes operated in the portal, right, you're well aware that they trying to win this year. And if you see Some players stayed, some players didn't. I think, not in every situation, but you can gauge in that situation what these younger players are capable of doing. Culture, brotherhood, all still intact. People keep questioning and asking about that with the portal, losses. It's like, man, dude, it's Ohio State. That's always going to be there. It's just part of the game now. But Daniel, I
Yeah.
appreciate you for joining us. You got any final thoughts, any final comments, any whatever for Buckeye Nation?
Oh
Don't
man,
be too mean though.
no, it's man, great to be back, man. Like I say, I appreciate you having me on, man. It's it's always great, man.
Yep. Appreciate you, Danny. We'll get you back on again during this off season at some point. Chat it up about something else, man. God bless you. Hope you have a good night, brother. OH.
IO.
There you have it, Buckeye Nation. Daniel Sanchez again. Got a little bit of taste of Pop's Pod for quite some time. Takes a lot, right, to do these shows and whatnot, and things get awful busy and life. But it's nice to get Daniel back on here, have Duke back on. He'll be back on again, man. It's insight that's really cool to hear. It's way better than getting insight off of Twitter and X accounts and everything else that most people do. I love getting insight from people that are going through it, been through it, right? And they're living it right in front of them. But appreciate you guys for watching. There is one more thing I want to tell you guys. Riley Pettyjohn's brother, Duke, lives here in Tallahassee. Met up with him a couple times. Real cool dude. Does a little bit of work for me. And he recently, I want to show you guys what he did for me. Let me get this pulled up. If I can see, he did a little bit of work for the Buckeye boys. Is this it? Yeah. Check this out, man. This was made by Riley's brother. It's the Buckeye Boys website, right? Takes you right to the show. I thought this was absolutely awesome. Going down through here, why the Buckeye Boys, all these right here. You can go to the podcast, you can go to clips, you can go to about, you can go to the contact information, all these things. You might ask, why am I showing you this? Because when he made this and showed it to me, I was like, dude, I'm definitely shouting you out on the show, because if anybody needs a website built for any reason, okay, hit him up. Real good at what he does. Let's show a Buckeye brother some love. If you need a website built, here's the email, guys. It's duke.pettyjohn@icloud.com. Send him an email, right? He'll get you hooked up. He'll, get everything figured out for you. If you didn't get that email address, just email me at the Buckeye Boys, and I will pass along information, get you guys hooked up. He's in college right now here in Tallahassee. So show him some love, man, and don't go to somebody else if you need a website built. Go to Duke. He'll hook you up, man. Really good young man. Done a lot of good things for me. You will not be let down. So, Duke, if you're watching, there you go, bro. There you go. You're going to be you're going to have too much business. You're going to drop out of college. You're just going to start making websites for a living now. You're welcome. Yeah. All right, y'all. Let me do this. Dang, guys. I didn't read the super chats when Daniel was on here. Sorry. Sean the Hammer, thanks for gifting the Buckeye Boys membership. Let me remind you guys, $1.99 a month. Go to the Buckeye Boys YouTube channel. Become a member. It's only $1.99 a month, and it all gets poured back into the channel. Steely, thanks for the $1.99, brother. Shout out Dietrich Sanchez, a great Buckeye mom. Yeah, I was pretty stoked to get to shake her hand in person. She's an awesome example of what it is to be a Buckeye parent. Duke, you shouldn't have texted me during the show. No, he said he's watching and he appreciates it. What up, bro? I got to give him a hard time now. Yeah, it's I don't know, when you watch what's going on in college football, and you see, at least, dude, I think here in the Buckeye Boys, we just blessed to meet like probably two of the best families that you could in this day and age of college football. Well, three of Epi and Riley and Devin, the support that they have, the family that they have. I know there's a lot of other Buckeyes, a lot of other college football players that have that, but there's also the opposite of that. Like I've said 100 times, right? These Buckeye parents that support these players through this program, they deserve shout out just as much as all these other guys do. So they put in the work to get them there. So all right, guys. Appreciate you for watching. Tomorrow, we got Sports Talk with Jay with Nevada. And listen, guys, on Monday, this is a big announcement. I'm stoked about this. You guys should be too. On Monday, 8:10 p.m. I've always wanted to be smarter about the game of football. I want to be a fan that can break down the film, that could look at why a team is having success or why they are not having success. Well, I found an avenue to do so, and it's going to help you guys become smarter fans as well. If you're on the Buckeye Scoop message board, he goes by the name VB Coach. He's joining us for the show on Monday. He coached Taylor Decker in high school. He's a high school football coach as well. He's one of the best posters on the Buckeye Scoop message board. I've been reading his posts for years now, and I'm like, dang, dude, this guy knows football. Spoke to him today. He's joining us on Monday. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully he likes us enough and he keeps coming on, keep breaking stuff down with us, helping us become smarter football fans. So tomorrow you're going to want to be there. Sports Talk Jay in Nevada. That's going to be a great show, guys. I got some heated topics to bring up, and I know we'll get Jay pretty fired up. And then Monday, we're going to dive into the offensive line, right? What we thought they did this year and our expectations for this upcoming year, guys. Hey, appreciate the support as always. Hit the like button on your way out, the subscribe button as well. And as always, love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Go Buckeyes. OHIO.